uh, human trials and that kind of stuff, like uh, human trials and I don't know what to say. What's the word for it? Human trials and so many certificate and that kind of stuff. But he didn't go anything about drug trials and anything. He just uh, he just made it into the liquid. He just grabbed the mold into the liquid and started treating patients. And after a few years, and it was like using the very commonly, but there were some people died due to the lack of penicillin. So uh, penicillin was in demand, so it got famous. And one of the main interesting things was like he just went on holiday and came back to his lab and noticed the growth of bacterial, and it was just like one of the just little notice just helped him to discover the world's one of the most common used antibiotics in the world. So that's the end
Okay,
of it.
thank you very
Thank you.
much. Let's go to Maral Garkuyak. Maral,
Yes.
let's
Um,
start. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Today, the topic
Two
that I'm going
minutes.
to talk about is about water, specifically about saving water. So, the presenter of this webinar was Garvanti Kulhani, who is a 15-year-old activist and the leader of 100 Waters a Day project. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Um, so, so the Earth is a huge planet. We have almost 8 billion people living on it, but only 2.5% of it is fresh water. And the fresh water divides into three sections, which means that our access to the actual fresh water is more lesser than we thought. And what is shocking was that one person approximately uses 300 liters of water per day, which goes to brushing our teeth, cooking our meals, kind of daily basis stuff. But actually, there is a thing that is called virtual water, also known as hidden water, that we use unconsciously. As we can see on the picture, everything we use and consume is water. Even the electricity is water. So there were solutions, and the solutions were pretty simple and basic but effective. Those solutions were fixing the leaks so that, it can prevent from a lot of waste of water and curbing our bad habits, which means we have to close the taps while we are brushing our teeth, washing our bodies, all of that kind of stuff. And everyone must be a savior, and we can wash full loads, which means whether it's clothes or dishes, we have to wash it full loads. And it all can prevent and save thousands of people and thousands of people with less access to clean water. And also the desertification, which is already started to happening now, we can prevent from this situation. So thank you for your attention. And the message of this presentation was, let's be water positive. Everyone can be a hero. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a very good presentation. Um, really good. So I congratulate you. But the problem is I didn't see too much about innovation.
Mm.
So for example, I thought it was fascinating that you had the fresh water as ice, groundwater, and the surface water. And I'm thinking, could there be a third source? Or, uh, of course, there is a third source. That's desalination, as you know. Of course, that takes energy and so forth, and maybe it's not ideal. But they gave you a box. One of the ways to think innovatively is a webinar or somebody's ideas will be a box. How can we think outside the box? And it's very nice when you have a good webinar and they said ice, groundwater, and surface water. But what about a fourth source? That's the kind of innovative thinking. Uh, and of course, the fourth source may be problems, but we have to think that way. So critical thinking is not just to analyze what they say, but to even go beyond it. That's why I said this innovation curiosity is like critical thinking next level. So very good presentation, but you didn't really talk about, let's figure out not just to close the tap or whatever, but how can we create new water? Okay, good. Let's go to Zhang Jinjing. Thank you very much. Zhang Jinjing.
Yes, Professor.
Great. Hi, 2 minutes.
The webinar I want to introduce today is about video production software. In the past, we used to through computer to edit videos, post-production through Adobe Premiere. But with the development of internet and more function of mobile phones, more people choose to clip video on their mobile phones. For example, the TikTok, which is popular in recent years and attract a lot of attention. Most of works on it are short video, less than 1 minute. What I found interesting was that this software simplified many complicated operations. In simple terms, effect transition that original requires complex step needs only one click in the software. Well, in addition, it also compares compares the function of paid software and free software. I learned a lot about the basic video post-production, such as adding background music, subtitle, and endings. If I have chance, I would like to make a traveling vlog with my friends. Thank you.
Very good. Good job. Now, what's interesting is everyone should listen to this. You talked about TikTok. TikTok is 1 minute videos, right? Your presentation was the shortest one in the whole group. You still have 15 seconds to go. And that's really good. And one reason why I'm insisting that you go in the 2 minute limit is we live in a generation, TikTok generation, Twitter generation. You can't talk for 20 minutes, 30 minutes. People don't listen anymore. So Jinjing, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong, did it in 1 minute, 30 seconds. And I think that that's really important, that you get the point across very quickly, because that's the way modern media is. You need to be able to give a message in a very short period of time. This TikTok generation, 1 minute videos, etc. Some people say is bad because you don't think deeply, you don't have long lectures and all that. But I also think there's a good side. People really concentrate on how to get the message across very efficiently as well. So good job. Thanks very much. Let's go now to Duong Min Heng. Duong Min Heng.
I'm here, Professor.
Hello, 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. We are now straying to the Arab War written by Sun Tzu, which lays the foundation for traditional military education. But what made me interesting is not how to fight with enemy, but the philosophy and lesson in the Arab War are still can applicable to today modern life and in many fields. So through the expression way can be different, but the thought of Sun Tzu is still trendy today. In fact, that probably he's the first person to use SWOT analysis and introduce in a book. So the word may be different, but the idea are similar.
SWOT
Regardless,
analysis.
yeah.
Wow, okay.
So regarding to our different perception about the control, environment, and opportunity that he analyzes like 2000 years ago. So this not only affect our current position in the world, but also like our current situation in the work and life, because we can still use this as a foundation of decision making and innovation today. So highly recommend that, and thanks for listening.
Good job. Thank you very much. Art of War, SWOT analysis, combining different ideas. Now, you might, if I'm thinking innovatively, I would think about, okay, I learned about Sun Tzu and SWOT analysis. What if I study a little bit about Confucius and see if there's some modern marketing concepts in Confucius? That would be kind of out of the box thinking.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
believe
saying that's I'm not saying that's the right answer, but this is very intriguing. These curiosity seminars should be you make your thinking about some other area. Now, let me give a little bit of a talk about how innovation works and the connection to diversity. Remember, I mentioned diversity is very important. This is for everybody in the group, not just you. So, why is diversity important? Because you were in the audience for this webinar. Your background, your history, your education is different than some other audience member. So if you bring your diversity into that seminar, you will come up with different ideas from someone else. But the problem is, if you don't bring your background into that seminar, you won't come up with new ideas. That's why it's so important in this exercise to not just report what's in this webinar, but to bring your knowledge and think of something new. So here in Korea, Confucianism is very important. And so one can think of a new idea. What aspects of ancient Confucian philosophy actually predicted some modern, marketing concepts? Who knows? I don't know the answer to that, but that's a new way of thinking. Okay, good job. Let's go to Huang Mi Duyen. Huang Mi Duyen. Huang Mi Duyen. Okay, let's go to Wang Zizhong. Wang Zizhong.
Yes, Professor. Should I give the chance to Dongming Hongyan?
Well, he hasn't started. So Wang Zizhong, you go first.
Okay, okay.
You have 2 minutes starting now.
Okay, let me share my screen now. Okay, today I will, here is Wang Zizhong, and today I will introduce something. I recently attended a seminar on pneumonia when see COVID-19 in China, and one of the problems was particularly acute. Why don't international students be urgently included in specific population vaccinated in pneumonia when seeing COVID-19? According to common sense, international students are the most vulnerable people to be infected. The answer is very unexpected. I thought it would be because there are too many international students, but the answer is if international students are urgently included in the vaccination of specific people in pneumonia vaccine COVID-19, then in the eyes of international students, our country encourages everyone to go abroad from the site. However, the international situation is not optimistic.
20 seconds.
Now, and the efficiency cannot be fully guaranteed. In that case of problems, the country where the students are located cannot provide effective treatment, then we have no practical protection. I think
Okay,
I have learned a very important point When making a decision, I should consider all aspects and analyze the problem from different angles so as to achieve perspective on
Okay.
as
So I have a couple comments. One is it took about 30 seconds for you to get the camera and the slides together. So that's too much time. Second is your slide is just a picture of somebody giving a speech. So that's not contributing to any content. So you spend 30 seconds to prepare a slide that's not very useful. And the third comment is you were basically reading from a sheet of paper. So it's not so effective. I mean, I'm talking to you now, I'm looking in the camera, I'm not reading. So you're listening, you're looking back, there's an engagement, even though we're virtual. So I think you really need to work a little bit on those aspects, okay?
okay.
So try to be ready with the camera, have slides that have a content if you show slides, and don't just read from a text. So you'll do better next time.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to Huang Mi Duyen. Last call, Huang Mi Duyen. Okay, Huang Mi Duyen's not in. Let's go to Jiajin Li. Li Jiajin. Li Jiajin.
Good morning, Professor.
Great. 2 minutes.
So I can say it's the future direction of short video I watched.
Great.
So in the past, I always thought that short videos were a platform for users to share their lives, but now I find it's very interesting is that more and more people use short videos for live broadcasts and to drive economic development, especially in some poor areas. And also they mentioned that short videos have become a new tool for youth education. It can be combined with courses in the current education system to make up for the limitations of book in the ease of acceptability. And there are also a large number of videos that teach young people to establish correct values. And in short video software, you can see a lot of interesting videos and also learn some knowledge. In software like TikTok, you can see teachers explain chemistry knowledge with common phenomena in life, and it's easy to understand. And for me, I also search some information on TikTok. And during the COVID-19 period, many people share their unique cooking methods. So I can learn to cook during according to the detailed message, according to a detailed process. And I think there will be more
15 seconds.
rich and interesting content in the development of short videos. And people's aesthetics will also improve. That's all. Thank you.
Okay. That was great. Very good. One of the things is, remember, critical thinking. You might want to talk about, what are the disadvantages of short videos, because they don't give a lot of content, but the disadvantage can be an opportunity for innovation. If the short videos are very not enough content, how can we make a platform to bring many short videos to make a nice big content? That's a kind of innovation, because short videos are great, and that's very much a trend for the future, but they also have disadvantages. And innovation comes from identifying sort of the negative parts. So in your presentation, you said a lot of good things, but innovation usually comes from this critical thinking. What wasn't so good? about short videos. But very nice job. Good job. Let's go to Lee Eun-kyung. Lee Eun-kyung. Lee Eun-kyung. Lee Eun-kyung. Okay. Let's go to, sorry, Zhang Jianting. Zhang Jianting.
Yes, Professor.
There you are. 2 minutes. Good job.
Okay. On July 25th of this year, Shanghai University of Finance and Economics held an online seminar on professional construction of data science and big data technology. At this seminar, Dr. Wu Shennan introduced Jingdong Intelligent Logistics, which was surprised me. When talking about Jingdong, some people say it is an e-commerce company or logistics company, but now we can see that Jingdong is a technology innovation company. Its logistics system includes intelligent equipment and big data technology. Based on big data prediction and analysis technology, reasonable scheduling and decision-making can be completed. For example, after calculation, Jingdong's sorting center can know in advance about the number of orders to be disposed in a certain period of time, so as better to arrange automatic sorting and give some early warning. And the management personnel can clearly see the overall operation of Jingdong Logistics. On the other hand, it uses more automatic equipment to improve logistics efficiency and enhance customer experience. Therefore, I think that the utilization of big data will become the key factor to improve the core competitiveness through the processing of data from different sources. The result will be fed back to the certain application, which will create huge economic and social value.
20 seconds.
Thank you for listening.
Professor, you're on mute.
Okay, very good. Sorry about that. I don't have any specific suggestions. Good job. Let's go to Park Jong-hyun. Park Jong-hyun.
Hello. Hello.
Hello, 2 minutes.
Hello. I listened to the webinar of Kim Chul-hee, who was from Chungnam University, and it was done in August 19, 2020, and the subject was about the developmental and intellectual disabilities. So to put all of this in general, it was called Armfield syndrome. The subject was that, but the main point was about the cause of gene, FAM50A. Actually, I was not interested in these topics because it was hard for me to understand. Still, I want to share the interesting facts that what I learned about the speech. Anyway, what I learned from the speech was that social communication, language, and repetitive behaviors include the intellectual disabilities and attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder. It includes the anger disorder, anger control disorders, and schizophrenia. And in this experiment, 2% of children were found to have autism spectrum disorders. More than anything else, the genes of XLIDS were classified into 145 types, but they only have discovered 28 of them. And I also learned that in 2015, a lot of people worked together to identify the cause of gene, which was called ZC4H2. Last but not least, I also learned that the FAM50A mutations will result in Armfield XLID syndrome through abnormal expression of
20 seconds.
neurodevelopmental genes by the aberrant RNA splicing. To give a last comment, I think as scientific technology has developed, I think more genes will be developed. Thank you.
Good job. Thank you very much. Just one comment. I think you were reading from a text, which is not so bad. You did a good job of it, but I would recommend trying to be more natural in the presentation. I also like the fact that you said you were not interested in the field, but you decided to see it anyway. That's part of the curiosity. I mean, you want to be interested in things and have a passion, but sometimes you want to look at something that normally you wouldn't and get some fresh idea. So that was good. Let's go now to Otamurad. Otamurad.
Professor,
Yeah.
sorry, have you called my name? Because I have the internet connection before, so it just out me from the Zoom.
I see. Okay.
Have you called me because I've been out the Zoom for like 20 minutes? So
Okay, let's go to Ota. Stay there, and we'll come after. Let's go to Otamurad. Otamurad.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is
2
Otamurad,
minutes.
and the webinar I attended was about the technological and how advanced the world technologies is going on. So I was curious how the world is developed in terms of in general technological involvement, not only in software usage, but in production, technology in production and in other engineering spheres. So I attended a webinar called Network Readiness and Digital Transformation. And in this webinar, they have talked how the world countries in general improving their ability to understand the network and different sorts of technology, especially Asian Pacific and the African countries were most countries that mostly started using new technological devices because of the COVID-19 to improve the social distancing situation. In general, the technological development have entered into our lives so much that there is now developing a new terminologies and new some of the terminology is being redefined. For example, globalization has to be redefined again because of technological devices, and there is an inequality because of the technological developments. Now, instead of low income and high income, there is also entering a term how advanced the country is. It a highly advanced technological development country or not? Furthermore, there was an issues of upscaling and rescaling of certain people because of new technologies being involved and increased each year. And this is making in most
20
of
seconds.
Most of the countries is short of a necessary skilled people to employ and use the technology that we have today. In general, that the webinar was highly informative, and I think that the suggestions how to improve the world condition would be quite useful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Good job. Let's go to Huang Mi Duyen. Let's start right away. 2 minutes.
Hello, everyone. My name is Huang Yuan. Today, I will talk about what I learned from a webinar. I joined in a webinar in Facebook marketing group. This group is in Vietnam and it's helped me to learn about investing stock. At first, I have no idea about what is business, what is stock, and investment. So after joining that, I'm learned about I have interesting in stock and business. For me, I am investing in a company in an environmental companies in my country because I saw many disadvantage if the environments become polluted. And also in the webinar, we also encourage people to invest more on artificial intelligence. So I also learned about what artificial intelligence is and invested to it because I saw the future that more and more work for people, but we also need the help of robot technology and also machine, because nowadays the standard of living is higher and we need more things to help our life more convenient and comfortable. So thanks to join the webinar, I also know how to make a business and invest to something very necessary to the future.
Okay, thank you very much. We're done for time. Good job. And thanks for sharing that. Let's go now to Kao Zegun.
Hello, hello everybody.
Okay,
I think you already heard about a lot of students talking about the AI, include me. And AI is everywhere in our life now. From my webinar, it talk about the influence of the AI. And after seeing my webinar, I think about the disadvantage and advantage that AI may bring to the human beings. First of all, the disadvantage is to the radiation of employment. Why I say this? Because the advance of AI makes all simple and repetitive jobs no longer need artificial labor. And so a part of industry of artificial labor was eliminated. And secondly, the development of AI is still going on. I'm afraid that the artificial intelligence in the movie will control and dominate human beings. Therefore, the controllability of AI still needs to be grasped by human beings. And the advantage of AI is that it can make humans' life more convenient. For example, a driver can drive a car remotely by AI, and a doctor can operate the patient remotely by AI. And AI can help us identify and find out wrong words by using a mobile phone. In addition, AI can also save costs because they can work continuously without rest and salary and work currently and quickly. So AI can save costs. And in my mind, I have a beautiful vision of AI. I hope that one day people can store all the memories and emotions of the dying person in the chip in the future, and then store the chip in the body of the intelligent robot so that the robot can have the memory and continue to accompany the brave person. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, good job. Thank you very much. That was actually very good. Let's go now to Kim Soo-jong. Kim Soo-jong. Kim Soo-jong.
Yes, Professor.
Okay, it's your turn now.
Yeah.
2 minutes.
It's about to talk about the webinar that I attended. It's about the stress management. It was actually appear at the April 26th. So what is stress? Stress is the reaction people have to excessive pressure or other types of demand placed upon them. So it arises when they worry and they can cope with the environment. So it's wear and tear to our mind and experience we attempt to cope with our continually changing environment. So our stress feelings are worried, tense, tired, frightened, and elated, or depressed, or anxious, or anger. So type of stressors are external, internal, and there are some type of like physical environment and lifestyle choices. And our physical environment such as noise and bright light and heat and confined spaces, and social interactions such as like rudeness, boisterousness, aggressiveness, and bullying. So the thing was really interesting is there are two type of stresses. There are negative one and positive one. So it was interesting because I always thought stress is the something gives you bad vibe and it's only negative, but they say they have positive stress too, such as spurring motivation and awareness and providing stimulation to cope with challenging situations. So positive stress, they provide a sense of urgency and alertness needed for survival.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Did you fall down? Everything okay?
Professor, you are muted.
Okay, thank you. That was good. Good job. Let's go now to Phan Thi Kun An. Phan Thi Kun An.
Professor,
Yes.
if it's possible, can I go next?
Yeah, you were not here. I see. Lim Hu Mien. Okay, so why don't you go? Let's start now. Hu Min Im.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name
Yes.
is Hui Min. So short introduction about myself is I'm very conservative and skeptical about using social media. And I think I was like quite left behind. I don't have Twitter. I don't have TikTok, which is quite weird. So I attended a seminar that talking about better use of social media for better opportunity. So I'm going to share quickly of the core value of like the 10 things that you should abide to in social media for you to gain a lot of, I guess, more meaningful experience. So it's not a complicated topic as compared to AI technology or investment, but it does remind me back of what is the core idea that internet was created is to actually share information, and we should use it not to be scared, but if we follow the rule of like respecting other people, know our boundary, and use it for sharing our expert knowledge, which means that people are now sharing a lot of their own expertise. I think we can all learn from each other. I think Professor also used his linkage to share a lot of the information, and I think I should start thinking about it and not really skeptical and scared about it. So I really think what I learned from it is that sometimes the old idea or the foundations of why something is created should be reminded to the public. For example, in a company, you should do some seminar about why it created and remind people about their vision and mission, which is great. Yeah, that's it for my presentation. Thank you. You are muted, Professor.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Good job. I noticed your first line was remember to be human. And remember, I was telling everybody when they're doing the presentations, they should show their face in the beginning, not just go straight to the PowerPoint. They shouldn't just be reading, right? It's all about that kind of human element. So that's very important. Even though we're virtual, we need to learn to do these sorts of things, because another person was talking about AI. I think it was Kim Soo-jong, and about Soo-jong, about unemployment. You know, a AI robot can read from a paper, right? So if you train yourselves for your future careers, this is everybody, not just you, and you just, you know, don't look at the camera and just read from a paper, you will not have a job in the future, because computer can do that. But if you're a person that engages and talks and appeals to emotional aspect and is dynamic and interesting and looking at the camera and having that human element, you cannot be replaced easily. So that's very important concepts. Thanks for sharing. So I'm glad you went in. So let's see if Fan Thi Kun An is in. I don't think they're here. Julie.
Yes, Professor. Yes.
Hello. You can start. 2 minutes.
Yes. From online programs, I learned a very interesting biological knowledge, the square cube law. This biological law was the first proposed by the great psychologist, physicist Galilei. In the layman's terms, this law explains why there are no giant inserts in the Earth on Earth, and why the creatures on the Earth do not get bigger. Here, a simple analogy. If a creature double to the proportionally, this volume and the mass will be 8 times the originals according to the cubic principle. But its suffering areas can only be the quadrant because of the square's principle. These suffering areas including the ball. What?
That was my fault. Sorry, I was trying to unmute. Sorry about that.
Yes.
I made a mistake. Sorry.
Okay.
Keep going.
Here we make the simple analogy. If the creature doubles proportionally, this volume and mass will 8 times the originals according to the cubical principle. But its suffering areas can only be dropped because of the screen's principle. These suffering areas include the ball cross sections areas and the body suffering areas in the organism. The cross sections or areas of the bone determines the supporting capacity of the organism, and the body suffering areas determines the head expression capacities if the animals simply is injured. Its bones cannot be able to support his body. For those guarantee that appears in the mythology, if they use the scientific perspective to explain their bodies, there are only 2 possibilities. One is that the bones was too strong, and the others is their bodies are very low distance. So there are many. There are the very famous comic in Japan. In this comic, the giant skins was always around the stings.
10 seconds.
I think it's very scientifically. That's all.
Okay, very good. I thought it was very good how I made the mistake and I muted you by error, but you were very calm and you didn't get upset, so that was very good. And I think everybody should notice that. The one thing I think is important, remember I made a comment to another presentation that if you have something that's very visual, you should probably have a slide. I think it's good. I think sometimes people talk about PowerPoint and slides and do too much of them. But if you have a visual concept, you should use a slide. So you talked about length, about surface area, and all these. It was hard to visualize. So in that type of a knowledge, in that type of information sharing, you should do some pictures.
Okay.
In general. And I think another student also had that challenge. I'm not saying you must do a PowerPoint. Some of you did no PowerPoint, and that's fine. But if you have a visual concept, usually you should show some picture. There's a phrase, and maybe it's a Chinese phrase, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, or I think the Chinese one is a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a one step. Anyway, you know my point. Pictures are very powerful, especially for visual information. So that's my comment. Otherwise, very good. It's very interesting. So we're basically done. I'm going to read out names of people who are not here one last time, and then we will end. Lee Yoon-gun, Lee Yoon-gun, Lee Dong-hwan, Lee Dong-hwan, Bao Jingyi, Bao Jingyi, Lee Eun-kyung, Lee Eun-kyung, and finally Fan Thi-kun An, Fan Thi-kun An. Okay, so we're going to be done. I'm going to